Today we are looking at the Aohi Future power station that provides up to 280 watts in total. A full color display, and it even has wireless connectivity. I'm putting it to the test to see how it performs, and I'm also going to compare it with some other models to see how this one, being smarter, if it's also better. By boosting gallium nitride technology, this charger it's much more powerful in a smaller package, meaning that in comparison with other chargers it supplies more power and it isn't huge. At this rated output, normal ones, if there exist, should be at least twice as big as this one. Right, in the front you are greeted by 4 USB Type-C ports, and it supports up to PD 3.1 and 3.2, and it has the output capability of single port up to 240 watts of power. On the side here you get two USB connectors and a button that does a lot of stuff, and you can see here also reset button for the wireless, because this is going to connect to the wireless and does a lot of stuff. In the box you are also going to get a manual with a lot of instructions, even shows the app, because this is also app control, which is a novelty for a charger, much more advanced than others. And here you get the power cable. Of course, if you are getting this in your country, region and so on, you can choose the type of socket that you need. I already have mine installed to the socket, so we can continue the test faster. When you turn this on, you are going to be greeted by this gorgeous LCD screen. This is the first time when it boots, so it has an animation, but that's going to be only when it resumes power. Otherwise, you can choose various displays here, so you can see the total power, you can see each type of the USB port, what it's doing, the power for each one. Then you can check its temperature, and you have some other settings such as standby display protection, so this is going to show something else when it's not in use. To navigate the menu and the settings, it's done just by one single button, so you need to, if you press it, it cycles between the menus, and if you want to change something from here, you double tap it, and then you can tap it to move around, and then you can again double tap it. So for instance, I can choose from this an animation with eyes or seeing the time when this is not in use. So I'm going to select time and confirm and exit. So you might wonder why this charger has an app and even wireless. You could connect an app over Bluetooth, but this is much more than that. It has its own smarts, it has a brain, and it has kind of an AI, because it thinks what to do. So you can control this from the internet, from the cloud, from anywhere in the world. You can connect to it and you can remotely turn it off. This is a very good safety feature when you are charging a lot of devices and you leave home and you don't want to leave them unattended, such as charging power banks, multiple power banks and so on. Then you can also monitor its parameters. You can see the total output, the temperature, and what each port it's doing. You can check all of that. And it also has 3 working modes. That's very important. It has the turbo mode, the smart mode, and the custom mode. Now the real load test. So I'm going to take this power bank, I'm going to plug it in. You can see here it's already jumped to 20 volts and it's taking in almost 3 amps, so that 60 watts of power, 50 represented here, shown also in the app here. Then I'm going to connect the Rogue Light. This also is going to take something like around 60, and the power should go up here. Let's wait for it to connect, and you can see already going to almost 90. You can see this one probably has the battery almost full. I'm going to power it on so it draws even more power. I'm going to let it run. Right, and now the notebook. The notebook has the battery almost flat. I'm going to connect that as well. Let's see what happens. And let's up the game even more. So I have here another power bank. I'm going to connect that also. Let's see what happens. I can even pull more watts out of it, kind of, because this one it's not very empty and doesn't support very fast charging. But even so, we have managed to increase the load on this. Let's also check the temperature of the unit. So it's at 38 degrees centigrade. Everything is fine here. You can also see here on each port. I'm not going to test these two. These two are normal 20 watt ports, so not very fast. And now let's compare it with this one. So I'm going to unplug each of these. I'm also going to turn this off now, put it away, connect this. So this has 4 fast ports and 2 slow ports. Oh, let's check. This is the notebook one. Here I'm going to use the tester. Let's see if it works this way, because this is bidirectional. There you go, notebook is charging. It's doing 63 watts of power. So it's doing fine, it's working. So I'm going to disconnect this, I'm going to let it work this way. Then I'm going to get the one from the Aohi, which is the other power user here. I'm going to connect that as well. Notebook is still charging. Aohi seems to be charging as well. So I'm going to check also here now the power level that's going in. And this one is doing also 50 watts of power. Oh, pretty good. And I'm going to connect now the power bank. Let's see what the power bank does. And you can see right away that the power bank is no longer charging as fast. So this has almost 20 volts but only 1.3 amps, so it's no longer getting 60 watts of power, it's only getting about half of that. And I'm going to connect the second power bank. I'm going to use the tester again for that. And let's see. And we get here a 24 watts. And as you can observe, this one, although it's not to the maximum limit, already outputs lesser power. So the negotiation between the ports and the devices, cables and everything. So it does 60, 60 and something like 30 and 20. So it's weird because this has 200. If you calculate it that way, it should be 120 the two devices there, and here 30 with 24. So it could do a bit more. So even when not putting this fourth power bank, this one was already not charging at 60 watts of power. So even if 3 devices were 60, it should do at least 180. So this one should have 60 watts of charging. It doesn't. Other thing is, this charger doesn't have any kind of working indicator, not for the ports, not anything. You don't know if it's plugged in or not, nothing. It doesn't show anything. Another test that I'm going to do is the idle power consumption and the efficiency. Of course, this is not going to be very exact, but it's going to give you an insight about that. So this is connected to this smart plug. This smart plug, I'm going to turn on. It's on and it's going to measure the standby power draw. So the standby power draw is under 1 watt. It doesn't have great precision, but it's less than 1 watt. And now I'm going to connect again the notebook. It has here this measurement unit. I'm going to connect that to the port here. And now it's charging. Charger shows, sorry about that, charger shows 62 watts of power, and this one shows 64 point something. And in the app it shows that we are pulling 70 watts from the socket. So there is about a 5 watt loss somewhere between all of this. But let's compare it with this one. So I'm going to move the power plug from here to this one. and you can see here in the app it's going to update. It takes a bit of time, as you can see, refreshed. So this one also takes less than 1 watt. And now I'm going to put the charger here, and this one it's putting in 63, so actually 62, 63, with a few watt less than the Aohi. And it's pulling here the same 70 watts. So this means that we are losing more watts, so this is less efficient than this one for this test. Empirical, it's a few watt difference, but there is a few watt less with this one, so we are losing some power, so the efficiency is slightly lower. So the test is over. I've tried almost everything I could with it, and I must say that I'm really impressed about this. Beside the power delivery and everything, the customization, this is also really nicely built. It has great design. I love the color choice. Everything feels premium. Everything, even this button feels premium. The display is really nicely animated, has good brightness. Everything is fine with it. It has this rubber feet, very long rubber feet, and it's very solid on the desk. It's not going to move away. The only downsides I can tell you about this is not a traveling unit. So if you plan on getting this and taking it with you, it's not meant for that. This is a desk stand charging station, not a travel charging station. But otherwise I cannot fault it in any kind of way. The app works really nice. It doesn't lag. The commands work instantly. Everything is well made on this. Even the firmware upgrade, I did 2 firmware upgrades on this. You have here an option, and you can upgrade the module firmware and the charging firmware. So both are now up to date. Everything works as it should, and that's actually really nice. So if you are planning on getting this only to charge your phone, it might be a bit overkill. But if you have several power hungry devices, then this is one of the best choices that you can make, choosing a high quality gallium nitride charger. So the Aohi really seems to be the future of AI charging. Until my next video, see you and bye bye.